It's crucial to understand that genuine malevolence often presents itself in ways that are far from obvious, lacking any clear indicators or immediate red flags. Instead of manifesting as outwardly aggressive or overtly threatening behavior, true evil can be disarmingly subtle. It may appear as a warm smile, a seemingly sincere compliment, or even a pretense of friendship. This insidious nature allows it to seamlessly integrate into everyday interactions, remaining virtually undetectable and effectively hiding in plain sight. The individuals who pose the greatest threat to your well-being are rarely those who engage in loud arguments, display overt aggression, or resort to physical harm. More often than not, the most dangerous people are those who maintain a pleasant facade while subtly, yet consistently, eroding your vital energy, undermining your sense of self-worth and dignity, and ultimately stripping away your inner tranquility and peace of mind. You've likely experienced this phenomenon before, that inexplicable gut feeling, a subtle yet palpable shift in the atmosphere when certain individuals enter a room. While you might struggle to articulate precisely why you feel this way, it's your intuition, your deeper self, recognizing an underlying dissonance or danger. This discussion aims to illuminate and expose these individuals, the cunning manipulators, the habitual liars, and the charmers who conceal a venomous intent beneath their appealing exterior. We will delve into 10 unmistakable indicators that reveal truly malevolent individuals, those who are not simply misguided, wounded, or difficult, but genuinely evil. Ignoring these critical signs will inevitably lead to suffering. However, by clearly discerning and understanding them, you gain the most potent weapon against evil, awareness. Let's begin our exploration. Sign 1, they mirror your dreams while silently sabotaging them. Truly malevolent individuals rarely display their malice openly, their power resides in their ability to operate with extreme subtlety. Initially, they will skillfully mirror your energy and enthusiasm, pretending to share a genuine interest in your passions. They might appear to support your goals and enthusiastically validate your deepest desires. However, their true motive is far more sinister. They are meticulously scanning for leverage, meticulously observing your vulnerabilities and aspirations to strategically position themselves in your mind as a trusted ally. All the while, they are covertly devising ways to quietly and incrementally erode your momentum from behind the scenes. Their sabotage isn't overt, instead, it manifests as insidious psychological warfare. They accomplish this by subtly planting seeds of doubt, cleverly redirecting your focus away from your core objectives, or meticulously creating emotional turmoil precisely when you are on the cusp of making significant progress. Their aim is not to outright prevent your success, but rather to slowly and imperceptibly weaken you, ensuring that you never fully realize they were the clandestine source of your setbacks or failures. This form of subtle sabotage often manifests in seemingly innocuous remarks, such as, "Are you absolutely certain that's truly your ultimate passion, or is it just a passing interest? You possess immense talent, but that particular industry is notoriously competitive. Perhaps it's more prudent to simply be realistic about your chances. I wholeheartedly support your endeavors, but I genuinely don't believe now is the most opportune moment to pursue this." On the surface, these statements can appear entirely rational, protective, and even genuinely caring. Yet, evil rarely launches a direct assault. Instead, it whispers its venom, meticulously wrapping itself in a cloak of false concern. This brand of psychological sabotage is exceptionally potent because it cunningly leverages your own dreams and aspirations against you. An evil individual won't destroy your ambition with a blunt instrument, they employ a scalpel. Their tactics involve the precise, controlled injection of doubt, administered gradually, until your own mind becomes your adversary, turning against its own potential. The Stoic response, as Marcus Aurelius wisely cautioned, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When you find yourself feeling unexpectedly discouraged or deflated after sharing your visions and aspirations with someone, it is imperative to critically examine their behavioral patterns. Do you consistently feel smaller, more doubtful of your capabilities, or inexplicably confused after engaging in conversations with them? Do they genuinely support you when you achieve success, or do they mysteriously become silent or distant? This is not about succumbing to paranoia, it is about cultivating acute discernment. True evil often conceals itself within what appears to be encouragement, yet its ultimate effect is to weaken rather than strengthen. It masquerades as fake applause that ultimately leads to profound inner collapse. Pay close attention to what transpires within you and around you after they have departed the room. That is where the unvarnished truth of their influence resides. And always remember this fundamental truth: someone who enthusiastically mirrors your passions but simultaneously fuels your self-doubt is not your ally. They are, in essence, your executioner with a smile. Sign 2, they weaponize guilt to control you. Evil individuals rarely rely on overt displays of brute force to exert control over you. Instead, they employ a far more sophisticated and profoundly effective psychological tool: guilt. Guilt serves as an exceptionally powerful psychological lever. When someone possesses the ability to skillfully induce feelings of guilt within you, they eliminate any need for overt threats or emotional outbursts. They simply need to convey a subtle look of disappointment, strategically withdraw their affection, or deliver a passive-aggressive remark. Suddenly, you find yourself instinctively on the defensive, compelled to explain your actions, offering apologies, and desperately attempting to make things right to alleviate the manufactured discomfort. This dynamic is not a healthy form of accountability. It is, unequivocally, emotional blackmail. The evil person meticulously constructs an insidious world where your own conscience is cunningly turned against you, becoming a tool for their manipulation. They will frequently utter phrases designed to induce this state of emotional indebtedness, such as, "After everything I have selflessly done for you, is this truly how you choose to treat me? I suppose I just inherently care more deeply about others than you are capable of. If you genuinely loved me, you wouldn't even have to hesitate or think twice about my request." Over an extended period, you gradually begin to associate your inherent independence, the establishment of your personal boundaries, and the articulation of your legitimate needs with causing them emotional distress. And that, precisely, is their ultimate objective. By skillfully weaponizing guilt, they effectively forge an invisible leash around your choices and actions. You begin to instinctively adjust your behavior, not because it aligns with your own moral compass or integrity, but specifically because you are desperately attempting to evade the impending emotional punishment they threaten. This is not a genuine expression of love, it is a calculated act of control, artfully disguised as a moral obligation. Why it works. Most fundamentally good-hearted individuals are intrinsically wired to avoid causing harm or distress to others. Malevolent people are acutely aware of this innate predisposition, and they expertly exploit it. They will artfully feign being wounded by your inherent strength, profoundly offended by your self-respect, or devastatingly betrayed by your personal growth and evolution. They masterfully reverse the roles, ensuring that you are made to feel like the true villain every single time you attempt to honor your authentic self. Psychological insight. Dr. George Simon, a respected authority and author of In Sheep's Clothing, meticulously describes this behavior as covert aggression, a set of insidious tactics designed to manipulate others while simultaneously ensuring that the manipulator's hands remain clean, free from overt blame. The overarching goal is unequivocal domination achieved through relentless emotional pressure. The Stoic counterattack. Epictetus, the renowned Stoic philosopher, profoundly reminds us, "No man is free who is not master of himself." To effectively safeguard yourself, you must cultivate a heightened awareness of when guilt is being subtly manufactured and deployed, rather than genuinely earned through your actions. Authentic guilt serves as a catalyst for genuine self-reflection and encourages thoughtful repair of wrongdoing. Conversely, manufactured guilt inexorably leads to enforced obedience and disheartening silence. Ask yourself these critical questions. Do I genuinely feel a sense of guilt because I have committed a verifiable wrong, or is this feeling being induced because they strategically desire for me to feel wrong? Does this individual genuinely encourage and permit my personal growth, or do they consistently punish me, either subtly or overtly, for the act of evolving? Is guilt progressively becoming an oppressive chain around my neck, or is it genuinely functioning as a moral compass, carefully pointing me toward integrity? When guilt is unequivocally employed as a restrictive leash, it is imperative that you cut it. Do so with unwavering clarity, with quiet confidence, and with the profound understanding that someone who genuinely loves and respects you will never, under any circumstances, exploit your inherent empathy against you. Because guilt that is truly intended to guide is sacred. But guilt that is cunningly used to enslave is, without question, evil. Sign 3, they charm publicly, but degrade privately. In public settings, these individuals present as effortlessly charming, they're all smiles, lavishing you with praise, sharing laughter, and projecting an image of unwavering support. However, once you are behind closed doors, their demeanor shifts drastically, they relentlessly insult, criticize, and belittle you. They meticulously maintain an impeccable public image for the benefit of others, all while systematically breaking you down in solitude and silence. Publicly, I consider myself incredibly fortunate to have you in my life, you're truly invaluable. Privately, you are nothing more than a perpetual burden that I am forced to carry. This profound duality in their behavior is deliberate and meticulously calculated. Its primary purpose is to isolate you, fostering a deep sense of confusion. Because others perceive them as inherently kind and supportive, you gradually begin to internalize the belief that you must be the inherent problem. And precisely in that self-doubt, they secure their victory. Stoic wisdom: if an individual treats you demonstrably differently depending on whether others are observing, their public kindness is merely a deceptive mask. It is crucial to believe the private version of their behavior. That is the authentic core of who they truly are. Sign 4, they never apologize, only shift blame. Truly evil individuals categorically refuse to accept accountability for their actions. For them, uttering the phrase, "I was wrong," is fundamentally unacceptable, a perceived weakness they cannot tolerate. Instead, they masterfully twist the narrative and distort reality until you are the one who ultimately ends up apologizing, often for circumstances entirely of their making. They will frequently employ evasive statements like, "I only raised my voice and yelled because you were being incredibly disrespectful to me. You are simply far too sensitive, you need to toughen up. Why do you perpetually jump to the worst possible conclusions about my intentions?" They consistently deflect any personal guilt, artfully distort the truth, and aggressively protect their fragile ego at your direct expense. Over time, this relentless gaslighting causes you to increasingly second-guess your own emotions, perceptions, and memories. Stoic wisdom: genuine strength is not found in an unwavering facade of perfection, it resides in the profound ability to own your mistakes and acknowledge your faults. Those who steadfastly refuse to admit any wrongdoing are not strong, they are, in fact, inherently weak individuals desperately hiding behind a towering wall of arrogance and self-deception. Sign 5, they isolate you from your strength. These individuals subtly and systematically work to separate you from your core sources of strength, your supportive friends, your cherished passions, and your personal power. They will subtly, yet consistently, criticize your mentors, disparage your ambitions, and even subtly undermine your hobbies or interests. You might hear manipulative statements such as, "Your friends genuinely don't care about you with the same depth and intensity that I do. You've become noticeably different since you started engaging in all that self-help nonsense. You're perpetually at the gym. What about our time together, what about us?" This process begins insidiously slow, almost imperceptibly. Then, one day, you experience a jarring realization that you have inadvertently lost your entire support system, and they, the manipulator, are the only one left standing. This outcome is not accidental, it is by design. Stoic wisdom, Epictetus profoundly reminds us, no man is free who is not master of himself. If someone is actively engaged in the process of severing you from your intrinsic inner strength and external support, they are not your true partner. They are, in essence, your captor. Sign 6, they exploit empathy as a weakness. Malevolent individuals do not suffer from a lack of emotional intelligence, rather, they weaponize it with surgical precision. They meticulously study you, observing your reactions and learning precisely what makes you kind, generous, and forgiving. And then, with chilling calculation, they exploit these very qualities against you. They ruthlessly capitalize on your innate compassion to evade accountability for their actions. Your patience becomes their personal playground, a limitless resource for their manipulation. Your willingness to forgive transforms into their implicit license to repeatedly commit the same betrayals, over and over again, with seemingly no repercussions. You will frequently hear them utter phrases that sound deceptively like vulnerability, but are, in fact, carefully constructed traps. "I've simply been under an unbearable amount of stress lately, can't you possibly understand and show me some grace? No one else on this earth believes in me with the unwavering faith and conviction that you do. You are literally the only person who hasn't completely given up on me, despite my flaws." This often sounds like genuine vulnerability and a plea for understanding. However, it is a meticulously crafted trap. Because if you choose to distance yourself or walk away, they will skillfully make you feel like the heartless villain for abandoning someone in pain. But if you choose to remain, they will continue to relentlessly drain your energy, spirit, and resources. The cycle of exploitation. They will systematically break your trust, offer just enough of an apology to keep you emotionally invested and hooked, and then seamlessly repeat the destructive cycle. This pattern perpetuates endlessly, precisely because they understand that your profound empathy will keep you ensnared within their manipulative loop. Psychological insight. This insidious dynamic is scientifically recognized as trauma bonding. It is a coercive process where intermittent kindness, coupled with intense emotional volatility, is strategically employed to create an unbreakable dependency in the victim. The Stoic safeguard. True, healthy compassion is inherently bounded by clear and firm limits. As Seneca wisely wrote, "He who is cruel to himself is cruel to others." To be endlessly empathetic and forgiving towards someone who consistently abuses your trust is not an act of nobility, it is, unequivocally, an act of self-betrayal. You must cultivate the essential wisdom to love and care for individuals from a distance when emotional closeness becomes a pervasive poison. Authentic empathy acts as a guardian of truth and integrity. False empathy, conversely, serves as an enabler of evil. Sign 7, they lie even when they don't have to. Malevolent individuals do not merely resort to deception to protect themselves or to escape accountability. They lie with a more sinister purpose, to deliberately confuse you, to meticulously control the narrative, and to assert absolute dominance over reality itself. Occasionally, their lies appear utterly unnecessary. There is no discernible benefit to them, no immediate danger they are avoiding. Yet, they engage in these fabrications simply to observe if they can successfully get away with it. This seemingly inexplicable behavior is precisely how you can discern that you are not dealing with mere carelessness or poor judgment, you are unequivocally dealing with pathology. They will lie about trivial matters, where they were, what they precisely said, or what they truly meant, even in situations where the unvarnished truth would objectively serve them better. Why do they do this? Because their ultimate desire is not genuine connection, it is absolute control. The psychological root. These individuals often operate with what psychologists term antisocial traits, a profound and unsettling lack of guilt, empathy, or personal accountability. They lie fundamentally because truth represents a state of equality, and their deepest desire is unwavering supremacy. The damaging impact. It is not merely the lie itself that inflicts the most profound harm. It is the insidious mental erosion that inevitably follows. You begin to seriously question your own memory and perceptions. You gradually cease to trust your own instincts and intuition. You are left with an overwhelming feeling that you are slowly but surely losing your sanity. Jungian insight. Carl Jung famously stated, "The lie is a mask behind which evil hides." To engage in unnecessary deception is, in essence, to gaslight the entire universe. It is a profound act of spiritual violence. The Stoic response. Truth is not merely a virtue, it is an indispensable weapon against the encroaching madness that malevolent individuals seek to inflict. Marcus Aurelius wisely advised, "If it is not right, do not do it, if it is not true, do not say it." When you unequivocally observe a consistent pattern of deliberate lies that serve no logical purpose, walk away. Do so not out of a sense of offended pride, but because your very sanity and well-being absolutely depend upon it. Sign 8, they project their darkness onto you. One of the oldest and most cunning tactics employed by evil is projection. They will accuse you of possessing the very negative traits and engaging in the very harmful behaviors that they themselves are secretly exhibiting. If they are the ones lying, they will vehemently label you as dishonest. If they are the manipulators, they will declare that you are the one being controlling. If they engage in deceit or infidelity, they will become obsessively fixated on your loyalty and trustworthiness. Why do they employ this tactic? Because projection serves two primary, insidious purposes. It expertly deflects attention away from their own guilt and culpability. It immediately puts you on the defensive, shifting the focus onto your alleged flaws. Now, instead of keenly observing their problematic behavior, you are exhaustively compelled to explain and justify yourself. You become far too preoccupied with desperately trying to prove your own innocence to even notice or address their demonstrable guilt. Real example. Imagine you discover them texting someone suspiciously. Instead of offering a legitimate explanation or apology, they cunningly flip the script. Why are you perpetually so insecure and mistrustful? Why can't you just trust me unconditionally? You're probably just feeling guilty about something you did, so you're projecting it onto me. Psychological explanation. This manipulative pattern is widely recognized in psychology as DARVO. Deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender. It is a pervasive tactic commonly observed in narcissists and abusers. Jung's warning. Carl Jung posited, the things we repress in ourselves often emerge in what we accuse others of. However, truly evil individuals take this concept far beyond mere psychological defense. They consciously and deliberately project. For them, it is not an unconscious coping mechanism, it is a calculated act of psychological warfare. The Stoic reminder. Never, under any circumstances, allow someone else to distort your perception of who you are by holding up a warped mirror. As Epictetus sagely taught, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. If you find yourself consistently being blamed and accused of behaviors that simply do not align with your true character, take a critical step back. Recognize that you are not the true reflection in their distorted mirror, you are, unequivocally, the target of their projection. Sign 9, they enjoy watching you suffer. This represents one of the most chilling and darkest truths about genuinely evil individuals. They are capable of deriving pleasure from your pain and suffering. They may not explicitly articulate this enjoyment. However, you will discern it in the subtle glint in their eyes when you are at your lowest point. You will detect it in their unsettling silence and inexplicable absence precisely when you are most in need of support. Or, most disturbingly, you will notice a slight, almost imperceptible smirk playing on their lips when you cry, stumble, or experience failure. They might even pretend to offer comfort, but something in their underlying energy feels inherently wrong. It feels cold, detached, and disturbingly satisfied, as if your suffering somehow validates their superiority or confirms their hidden agenda. Why? Because evil fundamentally feeds on power imbalances. Your pain, in their twisted perception, serves as irrefutable proof that they are in control, that they hold dominance over your emotional state and well-being. Signs they derive pleasure from your suffering. They consistently minimize your pain and dismiss your struggles as insignificant. They openly mock your dreams and aspirations, often with a condescending tone. They become mysteriously and inexplicably absent precisely when you are experiencing profound emotional or physical distress. They strategically bring up your past failures or insecurities at the absolute worst possible moments, designed to inflict maximum emotional damage. Philosophical insight. Friedrich Nietzsche famously wrote, "Whoever fights monsters should see to it that in the process he does not become a monster." The individual who derives palpable delight from your pain is no longer merely flawed, they are fundamentally corrupted. This, in its rawest form, is the very essence of evil. The Stoic shield. Protect your vital energy with unwavering vigilance. Seneca wisely advised, associate with people who are likely to improve you. If someone appears to be energized or uplifted by your misery, immediately remove them from your life. No elaborate explanations are necessary, simply establish clear and definitive distance. Because the individual who smiles at your suffering is, in essence, sharpening a knife with your pain. Sign 10, they drain you, but play the victim. The final indicator is perhaps the most cunning and deceptive. Evil individuals do not merely attack you outright, they masterfully invert the narrative, skillfully transforming themselves into the perceived victim. They manipulate the situation so thoroughly that you are made to feel like the true villain simply for attempting to protect your own peace and well-being. When you begin to assert healthy boundaries, you are suddenly labeled selfish. When you express your legitimate pain or distress, you are abruptly deemed toxic. When you courageously decide to pull away from their destructive influence, they resort to tears, sulking, and accuse you of being cold and unfeeling. They expertly flip the roles with such convincing artistry that you begin to seriously doubt your fundamental right to self-respect and personal autonomy. Their favorite lines, designed to elicit sympathy and manipulate your emotions, often include, "I have done absolutely nothing but love you unconditionally. I guess I'm simply never good enough for you, am I? Everyone always abandons me eventually, and now, you too." This entire performance is a meticulously calculated act, a desperate, last-ditch attempt to continue feeding off your emotional energy and resources. Because deep down, they sense that you are beginning to awaken to their true nature. Why it works. Good-hearted individuals inherently do not wish to be cruel or cause harm. Evil people ruthlessly exploit this innate aversion to cruelty against them. They expertly make you feel solely responsible for their emotional state, their dramatic breakdowns, and their pervasive loneliness. However, it is a crucial truth that you are not, and never will be, responsible for another person's fundamental inability or unwillingness to grow and evolve. Jungian final word. Carl Jung profoundly noted, "In each of us there is another whom we do not know." Malevolent individuals steadfastly refuse to confront or integrate their own inner darkness, their shadow self. Consequently, they become entirely consumed by it, and then, with chilling irony, they project that very darkness onto you, labeling you as the source of negativity. The final Stoic truth. You are under no obligation whatsoever to bleed for someone who deliberately cuts you, and then, without remorse, cries about the resulting mess they created. Conclusion. You are now equipped with the essential knowledge of these critical signs. These are not merely indications of bad habits, they are undeniable markers of true malice and profound malevolence. Your imperative is to recognize them, to protect your invaluable peace of mind, and to guard your thoughts and perceptions with unwavering vigilance. And always remember this fundamental truth. Evil can cunningly conceal itself within charm, within a facade of victimhood, and within deceptive smiles. However, it will always reveal its true nature through consistent, discernible patterns of behavior. Trust the patterns. And never, under any circumstances, sacrifice your soul or your intrinsic well-being for the fleeting comfort or manipulative agenda of another. Be watchful. Be wise. And above all, be free.